Hey, so I just realized that my camera is more sophisticated than I thought. Like it will follow me. Well, I was doing it before. Whoa, it's too much. Too much face. Too much mic. All right. Hey, everybody. I didn't do that. I didn't touch it. It's just zooming by itself. Anyway, today we are talking about the Coen brothers, two of the best filmmakers in the world, um, two of the best filmmakers of the last, geez, 70 years, maybe 60 years. I don't know. Let's go back 50 years. Let's say 50 years, for sure. Uh, be hard pressed to find people who do it better. And the thing that I love about all of their movies is that they're different. They don't follow formulas. They don't look like other Hollywood movies, which is to say the same movie over and over again. They're different. They're quirky. They're idiosyncratic. They have a very clear voice, for sure, much like Wes Anderson. And I love their films. So I recently thought I'm on this kick like the past couple of years where I'll just watch or listen to whatever it is that I love. Almost given up on trying to find new stuff that I like. It's just so hard to do. So instead, I just go back and revisit the stuff that I know I love. That way, I'm not disappointed. And honestly, it had been a long time since I'd seen most of the Coen brothers movies, so it was definitely a worthwhile exercise to go back and watch all of them again. So today I will kind of rank them for you as they stand in my humble opinion. Um, I was able to do Wes Anderson, with my daughter because we're both big Wes Anderson fans. Unfortunately, I don't have any family members or friends who have seen all of the Coen brothers movies, nor who like all the brothers movies as much as I do. So I just don't have any friends that are like that. In fact, I don't have any friends. Um, no, it's I don't have any in my life so completely. Stupid shop, shop, stupid baby, stupid baby, stupid baby. Okay. Hey, sorry about that. I just allergies are kicking my ass these days, so I had to just go off camera and off microphone there. I was off mic, right? Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to take a look at all of the Coen brothers movies in chronological order, and I will rank them as best as I can, based on nothing more than my personal preference of them. So let's go ahead and share screen two, and we'll take a look. All right. Same as with the Wes Anderson movies, I've hid the columns that show the box office, so I will rank them and then I'll put them up against how the world ranked them, me versus world, and then we'll see where my tastes differ from the rest of the world. So, anyway, here we go. 1984, Blood Simple. By the way, if you don't know about the Coen brothers, I have Wikipedia knowledge of them because I put their entire Wikipedia entry into Notebook LM and I listened to the 20-minute podcast. So, of course, I'm an expert. Yeah, born and raised in the St. Louis Park, which is a Jewish suburb of Minneapolis. Um, and then in college, they had similar life to Steven Spielberg, just got into filmmaking very early. Indulgent parents bought them a camera, let them start and make their own movies. And then come college time, Joel went off to NYU to study film. Ethan went to Princeton to study the psychology of communication or something esoteric like that. And then they got into making films. So that was the little bit of background. That's the 2 second background. All right. So Blood Simple, very dark and not just in terms of subject matter. It is very dark in terms of subject matter, but it's also very dark uh, in that there's not a whole lot of lighting in it. It was kind of the first indication of Joel's love for dramatic lighting. You could tell he had just gotten out of film school because there's a lot of like diagonals. There's a lot of fans. There's a lot of these devices that filmmakers have used over the decades, probably now a century, for dramatic effect. And you know, with the two of them, you're not really sure who does what. But given their individual efforts of the past 6 years, and especially Macbeth, the tragedy of Macbeth that Joel did individually, you can see that the dramatic lighting comes from him. Yeah, and there's also this like focus on the bartender's white high top Chuck Taylors, and he does like a little dance step on the bar. It's like it's weird. It's so out of context. It's very strange. But aside from that, it's a pretty good movie. You also see Frances McDormand for the first time, the fresh-faced Frances McDormand, who would later become Joel's wife. She is a staple of Coen Brothers movies now, for obvious reasons. She's married to Joel. Um, so yeah, Blood Simple, good movie. The lead character is unremarkable. What stood out for me was the guy that plays Loretta's husband in Cheers, that swarthy guy. He is the cuckolded bar owner. So that was kind of funny. And Emmett Walsh is fantastic in it. It's a good movie. It's no indication of their future brilliance, honestly. And it looks a lot like other movies that were made around that time. Brian De Palma's Body Double, Body Heat with William Hurt, and Kathleen Turner. Was it Kathleen Turner played the femme fatale? I can't remember. Anyway, it's not about that. It's not about that. I don't even know why you're talking about it. Blood Simple, very dark. Raising Arizona, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Who knew they were so funny? The genius of Raising Arizona is really the genius of the Coen brothers. They do side characters better than anybody. In particular, Glenn, the character of Glenn in Raising Arizona, that dude alone is worth the price of admission. See, that reminds me. And he's always like the Pollock jokes, the wife swapping, the she's a hellcat in bed. Just everything about it was brilliant. And Nathan, Arizona, I'm coming down there to kick some butt. My name ain't Nathan, Arizona. Tex Cobb's character is fantastic. The repetition of the okay then, throughout the movie is brilliant. There's just so much to love. Nicolas Cage is so good. John Goodman's so good. Holly Hunter, all of them, just so good. And the downside of it were the scenes where they're just yelling at the top of their lungs for a long time. Don't much care for that. And that scene where he's trying to rob the convenience store, he's got the pimple-faced kid pulling a huge gun on him, and the cops are chasing him and the dogs are chasing him. It's that like that whole scene was a bit much. It kind of stressed me out a little bit. But aside from that, Raising Arizona is a fantastic movie. Their first great movie, I would say. Miller's Crossing, pretty big in scope and scale. Gabriel Burns' character is kind of hard to like, honestly, but great precursor to the usual suspects. He's more or less the same guy as he was in Usual Suspects, kind of passive, kind of quiet, um, kind of unlikable, but he does a good job. Miller's Crossing is it's okay. You see John Polito for the first time, see John Turturro for the first time. Um, yeah, it's okay. It's a good mobster movie. It's fine. Barton Fink, I did not understand. John Turturro again. John Goodman is just weird, man. It's in those two movies too, you start to see like I don't know if it's like internalized anti-Semitism or they're railing against anti-Semitism, but you see a good bit of it in both of those. At the same time, you see like in Barton Fink, all the Hollywood executives are very Jewish. It's interesting. The story goes that they had writer's block during Miller's Crossing, and they wrote about the writer's block, and that's what became Barton Fink. But yeah, kind of a weird movie. Hudsucker Proxy they co-wrote with Sam Raimi. It's good. It's funny. It's for kids. I love the part where he just draws a circle. He's like, for kids. The fast talking Jennifer Jason Leigh is the reporter. So this one, Miller's Crossing and Hudsucker Proxy, and Barton Fink actually all take place in the past. I don't know, 40s, 50s, whatever, golden age of Hollywood for Barton Fink. The time of prohibition and mobsters for Miller's Crossing, and then I think it was like 50s or whatever for Hudsucker Proxy. Anyway, all of these have a very retro feel to them. Lots of old cars, lots of fast talking people, lots of mobster talk. Just, everybody talks like you'd expect somebody to talk if they were from the 40s or 50s. All right. So we're at 1994, which is interesting because by the time Hudsucker Proxy came out, they'd already been making movies for 10 years, which is wild. And then Fargo, masterpiece, masterpiece. Not just one of the best movies that the Coen brothers ever did, one of the best movies ever made, by far. Just the whitewash scenery of Minnesota. Frances McDormand is brilliant. Oh yeah, that whole thing. Steve Buscemi's great. Peter Stormare's great. Um, this is actually Buscemi's second movie. He plays, what was his name? Mink in Miller's Crossing, the Danes boy. He plays. Um, he's also Chet, another great side character in Barton Fink, the guy behind the desk running the hotel. He comes up from the floor. Um, so yeah, great, great movie. Just the landscape, the scenery, the cinematography, the random Asian dude of Mike. Oh my God, I bust a gut every single time. I always liked you, Margie. Just the way he talks, like, and it was just such a random thing. It adds really nothing to the story other than it's brilliant. And it turns out, he's talking about how his wife died and he was never married, Lisa Skipsey or whatever her name was, you know. Brilliant, just brilliant. Can't say enough good things about Fargo. And then, as though that weren't enough, The Big Lebowski, greatest movie ever made by far. Brilliant. Steve Buscemi again, John Turturro again, the Jesus. Let me tell you something, a pendejo. Oh, so good. So good. I could talk for hours about The Big Lebowski. Um, just love it. Oh, brother, where art thou? See, after Big Lebowski, this is, I think, their peak. Like, I think they were real close to peaking here, and I think they peaked there, and then they started to come down. But even when you start descending from, 29,000 feet, you're still pretty high up there. Oh, brother, where art thou is a great movie. Um, Mississippi during the 30s, yes, please. The colorization of it, they actually innovated that technique for colorizing movies. I don't think it had ever been done before. It was like digital coloring. They were pioneers in that, so that was very cool. You see Turturro again, George Clooney's first one, I believe. Um, John Goodman, of course, makes a reappearance. Actually, a retelling of The Odyssey, and I think they won a screenplay for best, or won an Academy Award for best adapted screenplay because it was based on The Odyssey. Music's great. The music's great in a lot of these, but in particular, this was the first one where, like, The Big Lebowski has a fantastic soundtrack. Um, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is probably their best soundtrack, though, just in terms of musical history, in terms of curation. T-Bone Burnett, I think, curated the thing. Uh, Good movie, solidly good movie. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Actually, there's a movie on the AFI Top 100 called Sullivan's Travels, and he plays a Hollywood producer who somehow ends up on the road with a young girl. But he was about to make a movie called Where, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I remember watching Sullivan's Travels, and I was like, wait a second, I know that title. So I think that's where it comes from. A little bit of trivia for you. The Man Who Wasn't There, dramatic lighting all over the place. This is Joel Cohen's just indulgence of his love for dramatic lighting. And that's pretty much all it is. Yeah, the first time for most of the characters, except for I can't remember the guy's name who's in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? George, whatever his name, the bank robber. Um, George Nelson, Babyface Nelson, is that a guy's name? Anyway, he's what's his face's partner in this. So he's the only repeat customer, I think. James Gandolfini's in it. I think this one might have been like right before Sopranos, or maybe at the same time. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. Um, but yeah, yeah, not my favorite. I gotta tell you. The first Scarlett Johansson movie. She shows up later in Hail Caesar. Uh, yeah, not much to it, really. Freddie Riedenschneider. So this is Tony Shalhoub's second movie. He was also in Barton Fink. He played a different fast-talking guy in Barton Fink. He was a producer in Barton Fink. He's the lawyer. Freddie Riedenschneider in Man Who Wasn't There. And Tolerable Cruelty. I love this one. So good. Clooney second. Just so good. Really, really funny. What's the guy's name? Hans the Baron von I can't remember the guy's name. He has such a great name though. Heinz the Baron something something something. I don't know. That guy's great though. And the whole choo-choo train thing and Cedric the Entertainer with the I nail ass. Um was it Cedric the Entertainer? I think it is, isn't it? Anyway, um really good movie. And co-written with a couple of other guys. Um, I can't remember their names, but it's probably their most mainstream one. It's the most commercially viable, most mainstream one. I downloaded the box offices, but I didn't really take a look at them. I'd be surprised if this wasn't towards the top of that list, though, when they're ranked by box office, because it was pretty mainstream. Plus, it had Catherine Zeta-Jones, who was a big star at the time, etc. The Lady Killer is another remake of an old movie. Couldn't understand a damn thing Tom Hanks said. Didn't really care much for his Southern dandy character, to be honest. Uh, yeah, this one just kind of didn't. I love the landscape. I mean, anything filmed in Natchez, Mississippi, I'm in. Western Mississippi is one of my favorite places, which is why I loved Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And The Lady Killers takes place in that same uh, locale. And that gospel, it's very southern, very black. um it's good. And they tried to do the quirky character thing with the Asian guy who smokes cigarettes, and um BJ Skinner with his easiest thing in the world, that whole thing. But it seemed kind of forced and wasn't working for me. No Country for Old Men. Dark. 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 Javier Bardem, brilliant, brilliant. um Yeah. Wow. So this is a Cormac McCarthy novel that they redid, and it's odd that they did it. It seems like somebody else would have done it. Like it doesn't really have too many of the Coen brother tropes in it. It's just a straight up kind of Western, kind of neo-noir, kind of thriller. I don't know. It's weird, but it kind of leaves you all heebly-jeebly. It left me karmically unclean. I didn't like that Javier Bardem just walked away, with with his bone sticking out of his arm. It was just, ugh, didn't, yeah. It's a great movie. The landscape is fantastic. The cinematography is great. Tommy Lee Jones is great. It's just, yeah, Burn After Reading, I think, is probably their only, no doubt about it, clunker. No, just not that good. Um, it just seems like a throwaway to me. Again, they were trying to do okay, let's give George Clooney the quirk of, he notices floors and he goes for a run after he goes to the bathroom. Throw some stuff in there like that. It didn't work for me at all, you know. Brad Pitt's kind of funny with his. That was probably the highlight of the movie. Um, yeah, just didn't do it for me. A Serious Man, I loved Serious Man. Again, none of the old Coen tropes. Probably the closest we'll ever get to an autobiography from them. Takes place in Minnesota. Lots of I mean, it's a Jewish community in Minnesota. Yeah, it's just really good. It's a simple story, simply told, and I just thought it was fantastic. So that's going to be high up there in my list once I get to start ranking these. True Grit. The first time I saw True Grit, I must have been drinking. The only thing I noticed was that weird guy who comes out of nowhere and he's like, "What?" I was like, "What in the fuck was that?" And I saw it again, obviously. I was sober this time. I really remembered nothing of True Grit the first time other than that weird dude. And I remember it was weird the second time it happened. Haley Steinfeld is brilliant in True Grit. I had no idea that was her the first time I watched it. She is great. She carries the movie. Ah, Jeff Bridges is so good. Matt Damon is so good. I mean, the three of them are just fantastic, and the cinematography is just great. It's a Western. And it's odd that they did it because there's again really none of the Coen brothers tropes other than they must love these old movies. They probably grew up watching old movies, and old TV shows, so that kind of comes out in True Grit. Just a good old-fashioned Western cowboy movie, you know. That's great. It is really, really good. And Haley Steinfeld, I don't know how she goes from that to like Pitch Perfect. And no hate on Pitch Perfect. I love Pitch Perfect. I love all those movies. Elizabeth Banks did a fantastic job with them. Um, but this is a serious piece of acting that she did in True Grit. So that to go from that to Pitch Perfect and then Kate Bishop in Hawkeye. It was like, it's not what I expected of your career. I remember Natalie Portman so good in Beautiful Girls as I think she was 13. Haley Steinfeld was like 14 in this movie. The character was, and she was in real life, IRL. Um, but I remember seeing Natalie Portman in Beautiful Girls and thinking, this kid's got talent. And Lucas Black in uh, Sling Blade, just great child actors, and I just expected big things from them. And then, I guess Natalie Portman she did Black Swan, which is a serious piece of acting. And then I remember seeing her in something where she played a Hasidic Jewish woman. I think it was a jeweler, maybe. I don't remember, but she did the whole thing where she had a wig on over her real hair and she spoke in Hebrew the whole time. It was a serious bit of acting. I can't think of anything else. She was in that weird short that Wes Anderson did. Um, with I think Jason Schwartzman that I didn't really understand. Um, but anyway, yeah, so she's done some serious acting. I mean, honestly, if Haley Steinfeld lives to be 80 years old, and acts the entire time, I don't know that she'll do anything as good as she did in True Grit. It was fantastic. Inside Llewyn Davis, my problem with that one, this seemed like I don't know, it's like the lead character was just so unlikable. It's kind of like parallel path to Bob Dylan. In fact, you even see Bob Dylan, which is kind of cool that they kind of gave a nod to him being a Bob Dylan being a fellow Minnesota Jew. So it kind of tracks his story. It's Greenwich Village in the early '60s. Folk music is alive and well, and but Llewyn Davis is just not a likable character, and that's really the problem I had. The biggest problem I had with the man who wasn't there too. Like Billy Bob Thornton's character is just not likable. And I need to like the lead. The lead. I need to like the guy or the woman, whoever it is. And so inside Llewyn Davis, kind of. I mean, music's okay. I kind of like music from that era, folk music, but I don't know. That one just kind of didn't do it for me. Hail Caesar was so indulgent for them, and they must have had just a ball shooting on the old sets. It was the golden age of Hollywood yet again. Um, there's elements of communism. I'm pretty sure Frances McDormand plays the cigarette smoking old editor who gets her scarf caught in the rail and nearly strangles herself to death. I haven't looked into that, but I'm pretty sure that's her. She makes a cameo. She made a cameo and she makes like small appearances here and there as well. In Raising Arizona, she was like, "You got to get that dip tat." She was Glenn's wife, the Hellcat in bed. She was, I think, a secretary maybe in Hudsucker Proxy. You see her for like 2 seconds. So she makes these like little cameos, and one of them was in Hail Caesar, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, old Hollywood. So it was like casts of thousands, gladiator movies. There's communism going on. There's ain't nothing like a dame kind of musical numbers going on. Scarlett Johansson, her character didn't really add too much to the overall movie. There was this whole thing where they were doing a choreographed dance swim routine. I think it was just to show like what you might find in Hollywood, back in the day. It was all of those things put together. You got your cowboy movies, Toby Doyle. You got your gladiator movies with George Clooney. You got your uh, sailors singing with Channing Tatum, who's also a communist. It was a little strange, but it worked. It was okay. It was pretty good. And then the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, um, dark, real dark, real dark. Um, but Liam Neeson, you see how good of a nonverbal actor he is because he really captures the essence of a guy who just threw a quadriplegic off a bridge 200 feet down to a freezing cold water where he no doubt met his death. He really conveys it. I don't know that I could do that because, I would be like, I would make weird faces, like I would be so racked with guilt, but he wasn't. He was just kind of like, his facial expressions just, they were just so perfect. You really got the sense that he had just thrown a quadriplegic off a bridge to his death. He really sold it. After after buying a chicken to take the place of the quadriplegic. But anyway, yeah, Ballad Buster Scruggs, very, very dark. That scene, that whole vignette in particular, and then the last vignette, I just didn't kind of get. Like, you got people in a stagecoach, and then they go to a hotel, and is that like a metaphor for death? I don't know. I didn't know what was going on there. But anyway, Ballad of Buster Scruggs. So that's it. I heard in the podcast of the Wikipedia page that they're going to come back together after 6 years of doing their own thing. Would love to see it. Would love to see a thumb back. It's weird though that kind of like after here, it wasn't really there. It was mostly not originals, or collaborations. So this was a retelling. This was an original, but it wasn't that great. This was co-written with others. This was a remake of something old. This was a remake of this was a screen adaptation of a novel. This was an original, but it's not that good. This one was brought up biographical and it was great. This was a remake. Again, you know, eh, this was just I think their dream come true of being old-timey Hollywood producers, directors. Josh Brolin was really good in Hail Caesar, the Fixer studio head. He was really good in that. So props to him. And yeah, and then the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, probably their boyhood love of Westerns coming out. Because the device they use that it's like an old Western novel and it has with color plates. So I remember those books, seeing those books in the library where a color page in a book was a big deal. It was called a plate, and that was a big deal back in the days when printing wasn't that sophisticated. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell, but I think they peaked here. So here we go. This one, number one, absolutely. Um, and this was a clear number one, honestly, before I rewatched them. But maybe because I watched Big Lebowski like once every 6 months and it's just kind of gotten too familiar. This one, Fargo, I had to like think about it. I'm like, is The Big Lebowski still number one or is it Fargo number one? Because honestly, Fargo could be number 1A. It's so good. But I'm going to go two. And these, by the way, are my favorite movies of all time, not just Coen Brothers movies. Um, I'll get into that later. I have plans to do my top 100 for my 9 subscribers and the 5 people who watch. But yeah, one and two for sure. Three, I'm going to go with Raising Arizona just because it's so damn funny. I'm going to go with A Serious Man is four. True Grit's five. And then, all right, so I think there's 18. Yeah, so there's 18 movies. This one's 18. The middle is going to be the hardest part to do, honestly. I think it's that's going to be a game of inches. But Burn After Eating is 18. Lady Killers is 17. Let's go with Man Who Wasn't There is 16. All right. So I got to fill in 6 through 15. Uh, this is going to be harder than I thought it would. Um, this one's not great. We'll go 15 on this one. Um, Heart and Think, we'll go 14. That one was just kind of weird. Uh, Blood Simple, I'm going to go with the number six, just because it was the first one, and I want to honor that somehow. Hudsucker Proxy was actually pretty funny, so I'm going to go with no. Scratch all that. We're going six with Intolerable Cruelty. We're going seven with Blood Simple. Intolerable Cruelty is pretty damn great. All right. So let's see. We got to do seven through 13 now. Yeah, this is where it's like, in a standard bell curve, normal distribution, this is like the one sigma either way on this one standard deviation either way. Um, you know what? Let's go with this one as seven. It's a good movie. We'll go with Hudsucker Proxy as eight. Um, just because it's so damn well made, we'll go No Country for Old Men as nine. And then Miller's Crossing's decent. We'll go 10. Uh, I think I messed up somewhere. I'll have to sort this at some point. Why not now? All right, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Ah, I got two eights. Two sevens. Let's make this eight. And then this will be nine, 10, 11. All right, so I need to find, so these are 12 and 13, right? Okay, we'll go Hail Caesar 12. We'll go Batter and Buster Scruggs 13. All right, let's see what we got. All right, yep, yep, yep. Yeah, okay. I feel good about this. Yeah, this is working for me. Yep, for sure. Okay, I've done it. I've done it. All right, let's see what the world said. Oh, okay. Huh. Huh. This surprises me. So intolerable cruelty was number four. I thought it'd be higher. What's number one? True Grit. Ah, that makes sense. It's probably a good bit of promotion behind it. Burn after reading? What? All right. So let's do it this way. So we'll do the world minus me. All right. So a negative number means I liked it less than the world, and a positive number means I liked it more than the world. So the one I loved more than the world is Raising Arizona. Let me just change these to values. It don't get all weird. Yeah, that seems about right. How can the world put number three? That movie's not that good. Oh, their worst movie. I don't get it. All right, yeah, this makes sense. Honestly, Blood Simple, it was their first one. Nobody knew them from Adam, so of course I'm gonna like that one more. And then um Ballad of Buster Scruggs came out on Netflix. I think it was during COVID. No, it would have been pre-COVID if it was 2018. But it was just on Netflix, so tough to tell how much the world liked that one. But there you have it. Burn After Reading. No kidding. And the Lady Killers. Yeah. No. Raising Arizona. Maybe because it was their second movie, they were still pretty unknown. But this one and this one have huge cult followings, like infinitely quotable. People quote them all the time. I quote them all the time. They're just brilliant movies. Raising Arizona and Big Lebowski, Fargo, I would say that's your and you could throw a Brother Where Art Thou in there. That's the Mount Rushmore of Coen Brothers movies. All right, so just to give you a hint of what's to come, in case you care, I'm going to probably do the same for the other filmmakers, not to be confused with people who make movies, but like filmmakers, like good filmmakers, people who make movies that don't come look like they came out of the Hollywood machine. So I'm thinking about Sofia Coppola. I'm thinking about P.T. Anderson, David O. Russell. I already did Wes Anderson, Guy Ritchie, another one of my favorites. Quentin Tarantino, I don't know that I could watch all of his movies. Fiction is brilliant, and he has shades of brilliance here and there. But honestly, I struggled so mightily to get through Hateful Eight, and I hated the last hour of it. It was just awful. Couldn't get through Django. I know, that's probably sacrilege to a lot of you, but I couldn't do it. So I don't know. But again, his movies are different, and I appreciate that. He makes movies that don't look or sound or feel like everything else coming out of Hollywood. So for that, I appreciate Quentin Tarantino. He's just not, all of his stuff's just not for me. But anyway, you get the idea. So more to come on this. I've already seen most of the movies of Sofia Coppola. I think there's one, The Beguiled, that I haven't seen. So I'll probably watch that one and then I'll be able to rank them. But yeah, there you go. Coen brothers, two of the best that ever lived. All right. And I'll tell you, see y'all down the trail.